Hello, Aquarius. Greetings and salutations. I come in peace. Oh my god. Hello, you wild, wacky critters. Today we are dealing with Aquarius, the air sign, the fixed sign. I have my coffee here, and you guys know the drill. Sun signs only, no death threats. Doing the coffee thing today. Already on my third one, and I just needed to take a minute to have like a really deep breath because, oh my goodness, I have so much to unpack in this video. We'll just see how it goes. I mean, I don't even know where it's going to go. I mean, it's going to be all over the shop, so pre-warning, there's no order to this video. I'm just going to go with what I feel, and I'm just going to go and all of this like cosmic knowledge and vomit energy is going to come out of me, and you'll be like, oh my god, I thought that this dark weird Scorpio was weird after his part 2 on Scorpio, but this one here, this takes the cake. So if you're an Aquarius watching this, listen up, Aquarius. Probably best that you go get a stiff drink. Probably best that you maybe go do some drugs, because I know a lot of you love drugs. And yeah, just pause the video and take your time. I'm going to take my time with this video. I'm not going to rush it. So yeah, anyway. So I don't even know where to start with this one. I mean, it's just such a complicated sign. It's such a weird, wacky... You see, Aquarius in nature, this is not a sign that you come across like all the time, like an Aries or a Sag. This is a queer bird in the forest. Aquarius, think a fluffy bird in parts of its body that have different colors that makes a very weird sound. Some days the Aquarius bird might sound like a crying baby, and other days it might sound like the sunrise. I don't know, like they're just so incredibly weird and different. And this would be like if Aquarius was a flower, it would be a cactus growing in the desert that blooms once a year or something like that. Something very rare and exotic. That's how I interpret this sign in general. Now, okay, one of the things I'm going to have to do, I got a pen and a bit of paper, a texter. So this video is going to have to be dissected into 2 parts. So there are 2 different types of Aquarius that we need to look at. And in order for me to do this video, I was talking about it with a friend the other day. I was saying, like, I just don't know how to tackle Aquarius. So I want to do the thing where I explain Aquarius to you, and then we go into the dark side. And you know I'm going to go into the dark side Aquarius, and I know you're hanging out for that, but just bear with me, okay? So we're going to go with the A Aquarius, very common, and the B Aquarius, not as common. Now, Aquarians tend to come in one of 2 forms. That's why when anyone brings up astrology and I say to someone I'm into mediumship and spirituality and stuff like that, and they go, no, not into that, not interested in that shit, that's nonsense, you're crazy. That means, more than likely, 9 times out of 10, they are an Aquarius. Whether they're dark or light, this sign is the most resistant to trying to be understood or put in any kind of box or any type of category. They fucking hate that. Putting an Aquarius in some kind of label is like their Achilles heel. It is the thing that kills their soul. So even the mere concept that someone could actually unpack their zodiac or unpack their psychology by being based on the time and space and place of which spirit came down and merged with cells and became a body, physical body, would just be absolutely preposterous to an Aquarius. But deep down, the Aquarius B, which is the one we're going to be really focusing on in this video, knows exactly what I am saying. And they might write hate comments, or they might be like, no, you got it wrong, fuck you. You know I'm right. That's why you're watching my videos. And this sign is going to be the most responsive to this video. More responsive than Gemini. Gemini can have a laugh and be like, give me some crap, ha ha ha, whatever. Aquarius is like probably plotting to murder me. and put me in a box or something, some weird shit like that, like a really dark, a dark Scorpio. Now, when it comes to Aquarius, Aquarius is the only sign that Scorpio fears. Okay? We don't understand you. You see, a Scorpio is looking to integrate soul into their being. But when they get to Aquarius, it's like this shifting thing that just doesn't shift or change. And Scorpio has a lot of trouble trying to integrate or understand Aquarius, and Aquarius can often have a lot of time trying to understand a Scorpio. So these two in general will either be very close friends, where they're both same, recognizes same. Both are fucking crazy and dark and weird. But Aquarius, to me, is darker than a Scorpio. A dark Aquarius is more, they're just evil. Straight up evil. We're going to get onto that as well, why I think that way about Aquarius, and I'm going to give you some really good examples that I could give you from my personal experience in dealing with Aquarians. But first of all, I want to go through A and B. Okay, so part A, and I might elaborate on this more later in the video, but whatever. Part A Aquarius is dumb as fuck. These guys are dumb, and I mean dumb. We're talking dumber and more blank and vacant in A Aquarius than a really dumb Aries. And some of these Aries are dumb as hell if they haven't done any self-awareness. Although Aries can definitely get very smart, for the most part, lack of self-awareness, don't want to deal with the world. The world's overwhelming to them, and they just, they're like a valley girl. Their strategy for life is to find someone to take care of me because I can't deal with life. And I don't care to deal with life or understand it or unpack it. I just want to go shopping. I want to go shopping, and I want to go and buy the expensive brands, and I want to be seen as being beautiful and desirable, and I live off a cup of soup a day. A Aquarius, living off a cup of soup a day to stay skinny. And my life is really about the pleasures of life, which is shopping, self-indulging, wallowing in my own sense of self-perfection, and I'm as shallow as a bird bath, as shallow as a puddle. And, you know, just think Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton would be a perfect example of an A Aquarius in this video. What I'm trying to project to you is that, you know, and she even looks like a fucking alien. You know, she's very alien-like. Very, you'll always see her on her phone texting, even when she's around people. Like, just can't deal with anything. Shopping and shoes, and her shoe collection would probably be the most interesting thing about her. Consumed by capitalism. And basically, now this video might be a little bit controversial. This video, and you're probably watching my video going, you think? This video might not be politically correct. You're probably watching this video going, oh, you think? But I don't give a fuck, okay? This sign right here is a quintessential gay guy. The quintessential gay guy is an Aquarian. Aquarian A is just contributing nothing, don't want to contribute to the world, and getting caught up in a concept of something, and that concept just it completely envelops their whole life. And outside of that little bubble that they create, they don't know anything outside of that. They wouldn't even leave the suburbs that they grew up, that they live in, because that's their little bubble. Anything that disrupts that bubble is rejected, denied, deflected, disowned. So it's got to be about being fabulous, being fabulosity, maintaining maximum amounts of fabulousness at all times, and completely avoiding reality and completely avoiding the world that we're in. So that's me trying to explain A Aquarius. Not saying all gays are like that, not saying that at all, but, you know, like the stereotypical gay guy that works as a hairdresser, works in retail, works as a flight attendant, very low IQ. Not saying that all Aquarians have it, not all gays do. I'm not saying that. Don't twist it, guys. Don't get this twisted. But yeah, they're not really aiming to push themselves very hard intellectually. In fact, they kind of like, oh, that's complicated. I don't want to deal with that. They do that kind of shit. Someone else will deal with the problems of life, and I'll just like Marie Antoinette style thinking, like let them eat cake. Like if she was a star sign, she probably would be like very Aquarius, have a lot of Uranus in her chart. So that is A explained. Now, let's move on to B. B would look at A Aquarius and go, just fucking die already. Get out of my sight. Give me a break. Get out of here. The B Aquarius is dark. is complicated. We've gone from one extreme, which is like Paris Hilton, the simple life, into the other extreme of Aquarius, which is think tortured artist, think complicated. I want you to really, I'm going to try and explain this as much as I can without holding back. Think of a scientist, which is an analytical mind. Then think of an artist, which is a creator or a designer or a stylist kind of thing. And this sign is in a place of pain. Aquarians live in pain. And the reason why I can tell you now why a lot of Aquarians have like MS or some kind of rare neuron disease is because they don't deal with emotions. And that vibration of that negative emotion that wasn't dealt with manifests in their body. So I never come across a sign more than Aquarius, even more than Pisces, it's always sick, even more than Virgo that's always sick if they don't deal with their emotions, is that the B Aquarius has really rare medical issues that never seem to end. Their whole life might be in hospital. And that's because of those emotions just get stuck in the body. They don't work them out. They don't move through the emotions. And you can't think your way through an emotion, Aquarius B, if I'm talking to you, which I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you would be, because Aquarius A wouldn't even be watching a video on any type of psychological stuff or doing any type of self-analysis. That's why most of this video is really based, I'm talking about B. So I want to get A out of the way so you understand. I'm not interested in A. That's completely ridiculous. What we're looking at here is B, because you guys are the ones that are trying to unpack stuff. And I want to give you a video that really gives you truth and gives you something to really think about and chew on. So you can go back and rewatch this video again and again as much as you need to. So the B is Van Gogh. So if that artist that like cut off his ear, that would be an Aquarian B. So I'm going to take away this piece of paper. So I've explained them too, and now we're going to move into B, because that's what we're here for, right? That's what we're really, yeah. So that being said, I hope that you like my layout today. I'm going to zoom in the camera a little bit so you can see this beautiful illustration, actually a painting that was done of all of these really interesting characters. Check out this one, very alien-like. Look at this little one down here in the red. And I saw this in the Enchanted World series, which is the artwork that I'm using for this series. And I thought, what a perfect art choice for Aquarius. And this is Aquarius right here. It is absolutely phenomenally weird. Now, back when I talk forward, we're only talking about Aquarian B. Okay, now, by the way, if you're an Aquarian A and you're watching this video, that's your shadow work. That is your shadow work. If you're an Aquarian A and you just can't, don't want to deal with life or anything to do with the reality of humanitarianism and the world that we're in, and you're stubbornly fixed in A, then just fucking unclick this video or fuck off. Or you could, maybe listen to this and maybe take some notes out of this video so you can understand yourself better and try to unpack yourself. Because to be honest, if you're not, basically with a mindset like in A, you'll always be limited to a very simple job. You'll be limited to a job where you just have to pick up some box and lift it and carry it to point A to B. You'll be limited to those very customer service roles. And you have more to give the world than just basic shit. Because Aquarius is the most complicated and beautiful mind in the world. Just on par with the Gemini brain, gorgeous thinkers. So if you've opted for A lifestyle, you need to get out of that, because you're just going to be, bringing a plate of food to someone and then taking away their dirty plate when they're finished. And I just don't think that Aquarius came here to have that life where they're just going to be a service slave their whole life. You can do better than that. So don't believe that you can't, because you can. I'm drinking tea, by the way. I'm drinking coffee today. And I thought, why not do coffee? Because this cool coffee cup, and I was thinking to myself, like a Mad Hatter's tea party, like the Mad Hatter would be an Aquarius, like cuckoo goo goo. I hope you like it. Okay, let's get on with the video. So Aquarius is a fixed sign, and you guys are stubborn as hell. And when I say fixed, I mean fixed. Now, a Taurus won't change their mind generally when they are proven to be wrong, but Aquarius will. Aquarius is more flexible and a little bit more malleable and moldable in the mind than a stubborn Taurus mind is. And even with the facts in front of them, an Aquarius will generally reject it once they think they know all there is to know about something, but they will sometimes bend a little bit to the truth if you've got proof to show what you're saying is correct, where Taurus won't. Taurus won't. When Taurus has made up their mind, that's it. They don't want to change their mind, even if you've got the facts. So I want to make that clear. And so these guys really just beat to their own drum. And they really are the weirdest sign of the zodiac. This is kooky, weird, scrambled brain, very like cutting on the edge. These guys live on the edge, on the fringes of what's borderline wrong, what's borderline right. That really excites the Aquarius mind. They are born under Uranus, which is the planet of chaos. And it's not so much that they want to create chaos like Gemini does. It's more that they really just want to beat and change the rules. They want to deconstruct the world that they're in. They have a bit of a problem with the world. They're challenged by the way the world is formed. They're challenged by authority. They are challenged by government. They are challenged by any type of the patriotic system in which the world was formed, or Western culture was formed. Aquarians have a real problem with that. They fucking hate it. They hate authority. Aquarians, unlike Capricorn, where Capricorn loves status, Aquarians hate status. They hate to think that someone thinks that they're of a higher place in the world than them. And we're going to unpack that because it's a very big challenge, and it really ties into the theme of Aquarius. Like in general, Aquarians are very political, and this video might be a little bit political, but I tend to find from my experience, Aquarians are hardcore democratic or right-wing, as we say in Australia here. Very, very left of field. They don't want to follow the status quo. Is just unacceptable to an Aquarius. They're always looking to improve and change and shake things up. And that's what they do. They just want to rewrite the rules. And they see the system in itself fundamentally as flawed, and they want to change that. They want to make that stop. And this is the interesting thing. They have, with the dark B Aquarian that we're now talking about and we've moved into this video with, a part of them wants to create profound love for humanity. And the other part of them is altruistic, is, what's the word? Nihilist. The other part of the dark Aquarian is a nihilist, where they don't want to help the world. They want to destroy the world. And these guys can be very attracted to the occult, very attracted to just committing incredible acts of evil on the world. And then the other side of the part B wants to save the world and is always trying, has a real sadness about them, because they see this great sadness in the world where everyone's suffering, and they don't like to see anyone uncomfortable or anyone who's trodden down on, or the underdog. Aquarius wants to fight for them and protect them. Like if you're a part of a lower, this is a thing that I need you guys to understand. Like you might be a heterosexual person or a straight person or whatever you identify as. It's completely fine with me. No problem with it. But the world that we're in is based on structure, which is based on the majority. So how the majority of the world operates, which is for the most part collectively unconscious, the people that are underneath that are conscious or are not part of the mainstream, that are disalienated or disenfranchised, they're the ones that suffer the most in this world, and they're the ones that are ignored the most. Homeless people, trans people, people that just don't fit in. And so places like orphanages in this world is a place where other people throw other people away. They don't want you. And Aquarius hates that. If Aquarians could take in a lot of homeless kids, they would. And I thought to myself, I know Mia Farrow, who was a very famous actress back in the 80s. She opened up orphanages. A lot of Aquarians open up like shelters or homes for people to take them under your wing and give you care and love. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Like this sign is capable of such profound compassion and love for humanity, for the collective of the world. And on the other side of the Aquarian, the darker side, the altruistic side, we're talking straight up pedophiles. We're talking straight up child slavery. We're talking straight up like organ harvesting. Like we're talking the darkest of the dark. Like I said, Scorpios fear Aquarius, and Scorpios only fear other Scorpios, because you do not know what you're getting with an Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius doesn't even know what they're going to give you. They don't know. So they have a real fetish for the strange. Aquarians have a real fetish for the uncomfortable things. So like Scorpio in that respect, whatever makes someone feel uncomfortable, Aquarius, that's where Aquarius lives. That's their home. And these guys are the aliens of the zodiac. That's why when I started this video, I was like, hello, Aquarius, I come in peace. And I did like, I don't know the peace sign, like whatever it is, like ET, phone home, like that type of shit. These guys are born to this world, but they are not of this world. And so their whole life, they go through life feeling completely detached, completely separated from humanity. They want to save it, but at the same time, they are not really part of it. And this is something that if you know more about that than I do, or if you have something to write in the comments, I'd love you to put the comments down below for me and let me know what you think of Aquarius. Even if I'm hitting the mark now, like let me know now, jump in now and tell me. Because we're dealing with such a cerebral sign that is so foreign to the human world. And so they're it's almost like they've come down here to study the human world. They've come down here to analyze and quantify and divide and dissect the human condition. And in turn, they have to kind of dissect themselves a little bit. So, if you're willing to sit down and get to know an Aquarius and really let them see that you're able to hold space for them, that is how you're going to build connection and rapport with them, because they have all these emotions and all these feelings that they're trying to understand, but they're foreign to them because they're alien. And it's a very disjointed experience living as an Aquarius. And I've had a lot of Aquarian friends come and go in my life. I've got a couple of Aquarian friends now, and they are, for the most part, fascinating. But they are unbelievably hard to deal with, okay? They really are. And that's just how they are. Like, I don't come across a lot, unless they're the A Aquarius, where it's just about fashion, and that wouldn't really last long with me, or probably with you if you're watching this video, because we want people that are able to, be a part of the world and want to be here and, contribute, not people that are just like sitting back in a fantasy world. Because we know the lack of consciousness is the thing that really fucks up this world. And if Aquarian could get everyone to wake up, like this sign is the most woke, okay, straight up. Like I know that people are sick of hearing that word, but this sign really is woke culture personified. They want to wake you up, shake you up, look at the world. And I respect that this sign really doesn't have anything off the table that you can't ask them. They don't have anything off the table. There's no boundaries with this sign. They go there. They want to talk about the real shit. And that's interesting. But to everyone else, the way Aquarius articulates their information is baffling to them, because they just can't understand. They can't understand Aquarius, because it's just such a tremendous amount of tenderness and a tremendous amount of rigidness, like the cactus. They're a cactus, like beautiful and pretty, but don't touch me or I'll cut you. They've got poison barbs. Like that's how I see Aquarian, and that's how I see them. And they're an odd bunch. This is a very odd, unique sign. Can't say that enough. Now, when it comes to Aquarius, people saying that this sign is loyal. We're going to get into the shadow stuff now. That is bullshit. Don't believe it. Whoever said that the Aquarius is loyal is just like, that's just not correct. This sign is only loyal to their own mind and their own sense of self. Remember, we're dealing with an alien that came down from a spaceship, okay? They know that. And they don't tend to see their immediate family that they're kind of incarnated through biologically as their family. They see the whole world as their family, and they are more interested in spending time with their friends than they are with their family. And to an Aquarius, their friends come before family. Even though they don't like hierarchical levels, Aquarius puts friends and homeless people in front of their own family. That's just how they think. Now, this is a naturally rebellious sign. This sign believes that they are the exception to the rule, and that this sign is the sign that will protest the most. These guys protest. These guys start up rebellions. And they know that the revolution will not be televised. They know that, okay? So anything that's standard, status quo, been done to death, done into death, they fucking hate that. An Aquarius that might end up as a teacher that gets really frustrated with the way the school system works would probably end up quitting their job because they just hate the bullshit that the schools is teaching the kids. It's completely outdated and it doesn't make any logical sense and it doesn't help the kids in the real world. And Aquarian people would look at that and just laugh and be like, this is just absolutely just laughable. Aquarians hate authority in general. I have never come across a sign more that hates authority more than an Aquarius. Okay, I've never come across a sign more that struggles with their management more than the Aquarius. These guys always have some like a chip on their shoulder with being told what to do. So a lot of managers just don't know how to deal with Aquarius, because Aquarius, in order to manage an Aquarian, you need to let them feel free like a Sagittarius, and you need to come at them from an absolute, complete place of respect. And if there isn't a shake of the hand and a nod and look in the eye and you meet them right the first time, Aquarius will remember that and they will hold that against their manager. So you have to allow the Aquarius to be suggestive in their role. If they're the ones doing the role, then they're the ones that want to tell you how it could be improved. So if you're an Aquarius listening, you're probably going yes and nodding your head because you've come up against all these brick walls where you're trying to tell people, hey, have you thought about it doing this way? This would be a better way. And Aquarius will show you that their way works better, only to be met with a brick wall, only to be met with resistance. And this line would send, and I'm about to have a sip of the tea, sorry, have a sip of the coffee, Mad Hatter. Before I say this, Aquarius would hate to hear the line, well, we've always done it that way. It's always been that way, so we're just going to keep doing it that way, even if it's wrong. That to an Aquarius is like putting a red flag in front of a bull. It will piss them off. Nothing will piss an Aquarius off more than that. And they will not respect you because you're not committed to self-improvement. That's why I'm compatible with some of these Aquarians, because as an Aquarian, this sign is committed to self-improvement. So you better be committed to self-improvement. And when an Aquarian is interested in something and pursuing a new project, you better show up, front up, on time, be organized, and you better have the same level of enthusiasm that Aquarius does on their projects or their protests. And if you don't, they will not be satisfied with you and you will be removed. That's how these guys work. They can be very cold when they want to be, okay? So this sign hates putting people on pedestals. That's why they hate the idea of having to report to someone. Aquarius always works better like Scorpio. We are lone wolves. And Aquarius can be a vicious lone wolf at that. Don't make them rip out your throat with their sharp teeth, because they will. They will do it. These guys have no hesitation in slapping a bitch or putting someone back in their place. Okay, and they don't like that pedestal thing. So everyone's on the same level in their mind, and at the moment that you think you're better than them, they will rip you apart. That's why I said I come in peace in this video. I'm not better than you. I've got a lot to learn from you, Aquarius, and I'm fascinated with your brain and your mind. If you're a social, friendly Aquarius that's able to hold a conversation with me and you're respectful to the Scorpio, Scorpio will meet you halfway. I will give you my time and love and attention. And we could even work well together on projects because you're very left of field. You guys have very interesting, different takes on the world, which I'm very interested in. I'm very like enthusiastic about learning about the opportunistic ways that you think about like how you live in this world and navigate this world. So that's how it is. But yeah, back to the part A Aquarius, it's pretty much a case of the lights are on, but nobody's home. And I'm sure you've come across Aquarians that go, you know, there's just nothing going on. Another thing about Aquarius that I've noticed as well, if you're listening to this video, I would say, in my opinion, and I've never heard this really said before, and that's why I'm trying to say things that no one would really say before, is that your sign is the most receptive to its chart. Okay, so I'm gonna like, what? Stop, drop the mic. Like, what? What did he just say? What? Okay, I'm gonna explain it. Whatever, so say your sun, okay, this coffee cup is your sun sign, Aquarius. And you'll have like your moon and your Venus and your Taurus and like, you'll have all of the different planets, you know what I mean? You'll have all of the different parts of degrees. Part of astrology is mathematics. You know, the universe is made of numbers, yeah? So part of whatever your chart is going to be personified by your sun sign. So generally, with my take on astrology, is that your sun sign is your main one that you operate from. That's why I'm doing sun sign videos now. And then the other angles that come off the sun sign will influence your character. Now, with Aquarians, with your chart, you are the reverse of that. So it's like whatever strengths you have, like if you've got more degree in your Jupiter, or you've got a very strong moon in Scorpio, then that will influence you and personify that more, like the reverse of that. So you're more susceptible to your chart than you are to your sun, to your other houses and other angles. I hope I explained that really well. Please forgive me with doing that with the coffee cup. But if you're an Aquarius and you're kind of looking at this, you might go, aha, that makes sense. So if you are an Aquarius and you're new to astrology, welcome. But what I would get you to do is go on a website and put in your birth chart, put in your date of birth, put in the hemisphere, put in everything, so it can create a chart for you. And I'm really good at chart reading as well. That's why I'm thinking about opening up my business again and doing some chart readings, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I hope that made sense. So if you don't relate to the star sign stuff, it's probably because if you are an Aquarius, you are more susceptible to the other aspects of your chart, which influence you. And that can be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. If it was your moon was in Scorpio, that could be a very heavy thing, because you've got this scientific brain in the Aquarius, but then you've got these deep, heavy, deep as the ocean feelings with the Scorpio, which can be in a conflict. So, I mean, I hope that all is kind of like, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay. Now, Aquarius kids are very weird. Like I said, they have a really hard time with authority. They have a hard time with teachers. They have a hard time with school. They're not stupid. This is a very smart and cluey sign. Much like the Gemini, they treat life like a CSI episode. I know, you do. Okay, you're an odd bunch. Okay, you probably... Whatever the kids are doing at school, you're dressing up different. If they dress up as this, you dress up as that. If you probably wear like odd socks just because you can. You guys have a very interesting style as well. So you probably would have you'd be coming out dressed up in all these interesting outfits, and your mum and dad would be going, oh my God, look at what he or she is wearing. You'd be like, I don't identify as a man, I don't identify as a girl, I'm just who I am, and that's it. And that's just how you treat an Aquarian kid. If you've got an Aquarian kid and you can't understand them, let me tell you this, you're never going to understand them, so stop trying to understand them. Okay, just let them be who they are. Let them be free. You need to let Aquarian kids be who they are. This sign already has enough quirks that's going to be rejected by the mainstream anyway, without their parents rejecting them to begin with. So just let them be who they are. Soothe them when they need a hug, give them love, but let them be what it is. And that's the thing. You can't change another form to suit the form that you want. And that's what a lot of people that have Aquarian kids who don't know how to deal with them, or have Scorpio kids who don't know how to deal with them, my best advice is you just support them and you guide them in the direction that they want to go. And that's all you do as a parent. You just provide love, and I mean unconditional love, and you let them be what they are, because they're not going to fit into a generic box. That's not going to happen with this sign. Okay. So that would be the best advice. And they have lots of rhythms. They go up and down. This is a very up and down sign, and it's very experimental. That would be the word, Aquarius, experimental. These guys like to experiment. They like to, they want to know about the world. So let them explore culture, and let them explore. Don't hide stuff from Aquarian kids either. So if they need to know about the birds and the bees, then just fucking tell them about it. But if you are an Aquarius parent, you probably told your kids about sex. You're very cold like that, and cold in the sense that you just here are the facts, this is how the world works, deal with it. Because I had to too. That's how an Aquarius would think, and I actually don't have a problem with that. You would do a lot of disservice to your kids by just wrapping them up in cotton wool and not letting them have any critical thinking. And Aquarius is all about critical thinking. These guys are always thinking critically. And whoever said that Aquarius is not judgmental, that's bullshit. Don't believe it. This is the second most judgmental sign under Scorpio and Sagittarius. These guys are absolutely judgmental, okay? They just are. They are. They don't like calling you out, Aquarius. You don't like being judged, but you have no hesitation in serving as judge, jury, and executioner for other people. I can assure you. I've learnt that the hard way. Now, this sign is a humanitarian and an egalitarian or egalitarian. So they're very much about friends. Their friends come first. An Aquarius, you could go on a date with Aquarius and Aquarius would show up with their friends. That would be completely normal. And you'd be like, why are your friends here? They'd be like, well, just because they come along too. Like that would be normal. So if you go to invite an Aquarius, a socially probably more like part A Aquarian, like the ones that we mentioned before, they would be completely shocked that you'd be shocked at them for bringing their friends along to the movie. They just want their friends to come and see the movie too. Even if you wanted it to be more romantic, Aquarius would be like, yeah, but that's just because my friend wanted to see the movie. That's how they are. Now, with the rebellious side of Aquarius, these guys have no problem in having a hostile takeover. So these guys can create little groups, little like radical groups, and they will come into like anywhere and take over. If they think it's not doing right, this sign will come in and destroy it. This sign goes marching in the street. These guys make posters. They see stuff in the world and they are like, fuck that. I want to destroy that. That's not right. And I don't really think a lot of the dark Aquarians are ever really happy. Much like the dark Virgos, I think that they kind of are natural investigators, but they really are not happy with being happy. They are only really happy when they're down and in the depths of hell. That's where they feel more comfortable. And this sign, Aquarius, needs a lot of time on their own. These guys need a lot of time to go back. I call it the spaceship. They go back into their spaceship and they shut the door. They get overwhelmed with life really easily, and they just need a lot of time to process how they feel, process how they think, and they can be really like provocateurs. Now, I see Aquarians they find a cause that's bigger than them and they throw themselves into that cause. And they will die fighting for that cause. And I respect that because these guys are like suicide bombers. They will fight tooth and nail to make something happen. That if they believe that this cause goes beyond and transcends their own life, they will give their life for humanity. They will bend the knee and they will take a bullet if it can save or help someone. The dark Aquarians won't take a bullet for anyone. They'll be the ones holding the gun to your head and making you stand up straight. That's a dark Aquarius. Now, they're very unapologetic at times, so they don't really say sorry, and they really have a hard time kind of admitting when they were wrong. So if you've got an Aquarius, it can just come to you and say, hey, look, I fucked up. I made a mistake. It was me. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? You've got a light-sided Aquarian. If you have an Aquarian that has a hard time saying no and admitting they were wrong, dark side all the way, stay away, red flag. More red flags pop up around an Aquarius than a fucking Chinese parade. Okay. Now, as kids, like I may have mentioned, this sign can be a big bully. These guys in their younger years, that when they don't feel safe or they feel out of control, they will bully their younger siblings. They will be aggressive to their family members because, like I said, they don't see family as their family. They see the world and people of the world as their family. Now, when it comes to love, Aquarius can be quite distant, a little bit emotionally detached. And they can often take this kind of like scientific approach to love as well. So one thing I will say is that you don't need, like, love is not something that you think, it's something that you feel. We have to be open to feeling stuff. Love is not something that you like get a big board with sums and draw E equals MC squared and do some shit like that and do some kind of graph or some shit. That's not like an Aquarius brain would think like that, but that's not actually how love works, Aquarius. So you've got to get out of that cold, rigid energy. That would be my best advice to you. Now, Aquarius, the dark side, and maybe just Aquarius in general, they have a very big sense of entitlement. They are very fucking entitled. And more part A, I would retract that. More the A side of Aquarius that I mentioned at the start of the video. These guys just have this kind of completely distorted view of reality. As I said, a lot of them can't handle reality. And so they are just like, someone else will show up and take care of me. Someone else will pay my rent for me. Someone else will... These guys attract codependent relationships. That's just how they are. They tend to gravitate towards relationships where someone else takes care of them because they don't want to deal with the day-to-day challenges of living. That can be and they're very entitled in the sense that life is a magical garden and I don't have to contribute and I just show up and the red carpet rolls out for me and I'm entitled. That's how they have this that can be, it's very smug. A lot of Aquarians, you just want to rub that fucking smug look off their face. They've got this smug energy to them, much like Virgo can as well at times, and it pisses me off. So they can be very emotionally detached and they're very picky with their food. So they're always sending food back in the restaurant. I've noticed a lot to go out and have dinner with an Aquarius. This doesn't taste right, or this is too hot, or they're always changing and modifying things around them. They're never, like I said, they're never happy with the status quo, even with their food. They could order a burger off like McDonald's, but they've got to take off this or add that. They'll even make up ridiculous requests where they want a burger with no bun, or they want a burger with no burger. Like it's crazy, but that's just how they are. They're very they are very quite neurotic. A very neurotic Aquarian would be hell to deal with. So they have a lot of kink fetishes as well. We'll get onto that a little bit more when we get to the more juicy stuff. But Aquarius, they're very demanding, and 98% of the time, whatever they get, they're not happy with. They want to modify it. They want to change it. Naturally, Aquarius is an artist. So if they bought a t-shirt, Aquarius B, remember, we're not talking about Aquarius A, Aquarius B would rip it up or spray paint it or change it or distort it. They want to roll up the sleeves, or, they hate, this would be the sign that would come to school in casual clothes all the time and just hates wearing uniform. They detest uniform because uniform means conforming, and this sign does not want to conform. They want to do their own thing and they have their own style. And how they express themselves to the world is very important to an Aquarius as well. So yeah. Aquarius actually is quite a good money magnet. They can attract a lot of money a lot of the time. They're able to just gravitate money around them. I've watched it. But when it comes to money, a lot of them are terrible. The money comes in the door and it goes straight back out the door again. Like in terms of, if you could get an Aquarius that might have a very strong Taurus in their rising, then they'd be more able to make money, gravitate money and keep money in the bank, or even figure out ways to make money. That tends to be something that they can do as well. Now, Aquarius in relationships tend to be that other woman. They tend to be the one that ends up with a married man, or they have close encounters with married people or partnered people. This kind of is quite fascinating, I've seen as well. And to an Aquarius female in particular, or an Aquarius male, because they tend to go for partnered people, there's nothing off limits really. So they'll go for a married man, they'll go for a married woman that's in a committed relationship, and they tend to be like the catalyst for breakups as well. So Aquarius has no problem, messing with your boyfriend. That would be normal for them. And they see everyone as equal, so they don't really see that as off limits. There is no off limits with an Aquarius, a dark Aquarius that is. So they, having affairs with men would be quite normal. Meeting in hotels would be quite normal for an Aquarian. Really kind of transactional relationships. When it comes to a relationship with an Aquarius, they tend to wear the pants. They tend to be quite bossy. So Aquarius women tend to go for very passive men so that they can be the dominant one. And that's the type of person that they attract. They want someone that just gets down and bends the knee and tells them you're just too special for this world, and sees the alien queen in them. They, kiss my feet, tell me how wonderful I am. And they'll kind of treat him like shit, and he'll just be bending over backwards to impress her. Aquarians need to be wooed and impressed in relationships, so that's why they go for those types, which can be very challenging for an Aquarius that isn't in tune with their own emotions, because they're going to go for a man that might be very emotional, like say a Cancerian. So a Cancerian and Aquarian would not be a very good relationship, because he needs constant emotional stimulation and she only wants it when it's on her terms. And that tends to be how they are. So when I think of Aquarius, I think of the character, other than in the Batman world, I think of Selena Kyle. I think she would be an Aquarian. She's kind of got her own thing going on, and she, like a cat, they, like the Gemini, they kind of have their own agenda. So they do what they want, and they're kind of only on the side that feeds them. They're on the side that serves them. That would be a dark a dark Aquarian. So she'll kiss Batman passionately, and it's really hot because that relationship dynamic between Batman and Catwoman is so iconic because she's a bad girl, she's very similar to him, he's very similar to her, and they've got the masks going on. But the moment that they hook up in a relationship, it changes the dynamic. So it's like that's how I see Aquarians sometimes. You wouldn't really want to go there so much because if you have sex with them, it changes the dynamic. So you keep them as friends. And I have friends like that now. Like I would never go there with them because I don't want to change where we are now, and I feel that way about that. But yeah, Selena Kyle would be a Catwoman, very independent in that way, so she can do, you know, and Aquarius is very flexible, like Gemini. They can like land on their feet a lot of times. They have a lot of they'll get ripped apart and they don't stay down long. That's a good thing about Aquarius as well. But their wardrobe is always on point, very connected, very like coordinated would be the good choice. So how Aquarius tends to present themselves to the world and how the world sees Aquarius is very important. So they dress themselves very well from head to toe, but they can go a little bit over the board. And this sign will go for like ultra modern fashion. Think cutting edge fashion with Aquarius. A lot of them are in style, stylists, makeup artists, photographers. A lot of Aquarians make excellent photographers. They've got an eye for detail, looking at things from different angles. It's just fascinating. Like a lot of them will have coffee table books that are all these interesting photographs in them. They love that. This is a very, very visual sign. You have to turn them on visually. Like they are very visual like that. And they can be a little bit space agey as well. So this sign is very interested in what's happening outside in space, like the galactic world, dealing with like aliens. They feel connected to the outside world in space because they are very alien-like. So like aliens like the Greys, or aliens like galactic things like indigo children or rainbow children. Think of like the Arturians, the Palladians, that kind of thing. Like think of that, like anything outside of this world they are interested in. And a lot of them have a lot of dreams that are connected to timelines on this earth that have taken place or about to take place. They have a lot of visions of the future. This sign is about future. Aquarius, we're in the age of Aquarius now, bringing us into this new future and ushering in a new world. And all of these old things are just collapsing. Like religion to an Aquarian would just be absolutely ridiculous because Aquarius recognizes that religion was man-made and they wouldn't follow anything that was made by a man. Aquarius is like a magpie when it comes to religious ideologies. They just pick and choose things that work for them and just leave the rest behind. And so that can be a good thing and a bad thing in a little. I might explain on that a little bit later. But yes, they're very interested in beauty. A lot of them are beauty queens. A very low functioning Aquarius is very concerned with her visual like representation. So lots of jewelry. They like lots of bright colors as well, like neon colors. Like think of like the 80s where everyone was like very bright, very bold, like fluoro yellow, fluoro green, and teased up hairstyles and things like that. And they change their hair color all the time. They love to dye their hair, just like Leos, our cuddly Leo friends. They are always changing their persona and playing with different characters or different personas of other beings because it tries to, yet again, that alien thing. They're trying to connect closer to the earth people, the humans. So they can be like, their style might be like back in the 80s, even though we're in the 2000s. They just love that. And Aquarian women will have no trouble taking a pair of scissors to cut their own hair. So they'll have this really like chippy choppy fringe, which just looks like really severe. These guys have very severe haircuts, like very like long in one spot and really short, and maybe shaved a part of their head on one side, or have a big stretched earring thing, like lots of jewelry, nose rings, stuff like that. They're always changing their look. And they love someone else massaging their head. I've noticed Aquarians love head massages, and they love someone else styling them, or someone else doing their hairstyle for them. They often make other people do their own hair. My mum used to, I had a friend that used to be a hairdresser, and a lot of them are hairdressers as well. Anything that plays with the aesthetic persona, if that makes sense. like I said, they're never satisfied with the status quo. So they have to be always changing things up and keeping things interesting. This sign has no trouble with change, by the way. Change is a natural thing that will occur with an Aquarian. When you meet an Aquarian, like a Scorpio, you're only going to meet the part of them that has you're only going to meet the version of them of where they're up to now at the time that you meet them. But there would have been so many other versions of them before you meet them. And those versions to us, me a Scorpio or Aquarius, is just something that we don't even think about anymore. It passed, it came, it went, it's gone. And that's just how they are. They're always thinking about the future. Aquarius doesn't want to dwell on the past. They can have a past trauma that they never get over, or if it was a troubled childhood, because Aquarius in their dark side is very much struggling with guilt. These guys have problems with guilt. They have problems with shame. Now, I know psychology. I was interested in psychology. I was almost going to be a psychologist at one point. Shame, we have to look at shame when we look at Aquarius. Aquarius deals with shame because shame is not an emotion. Okay, repeat, shame is not an emotion. Shame is a biosensory reaction to not socially being accepted. So whatever's considered abnormal in society that is frowned upon, and if Aquarian does that, Aquarius's feeling of shame is that they don't want me, they don't accept me, there's something wrong with me. That shame stays with them. And so the more dark and evil an Aquarius does things that are fucked up, Aquarius carries that with them. And that shame eats at an Aquarian soul deeply. They never really come to terms with their own dark side. A dark Aquarius struggles with their dark side because Aquarius in general is very dark. This is a very dark sign in general, that Aquarian B that we're talking about now. So it's like how the world sees them is how they see themselves. They want to be a part of the world, but they don't fit in. So it's almost like an outsider looking through like glass, or looking through some kind of perspex that's clear. Looking through a window. Yeah, a window, a glass pane. Like they're on one side of the window and the world's on the other side. And they desperately are struggling to be, they're starving for connection. And on the other half of it, they don't want to be understood. Leave me alone. So they've got these two personas that are going on at one time and that are in a tug of war with each other. And that's why they're never satisfied either. And that is the best way I could describe that sense. I think I'm just going to take a break and we're going to come back in a part 2. I'm going to do a 2-part series because we're getting up, what are we up to? 52 minutes. Okay, so I feel this was a really good place to start. And then the next video, I'm just going to come in with the sledgehammer and just go straight into the dark shit and really give you my real take on a dark Aquarius. But I feel like this part needs a break. I need a break for a sec because I just need to get up. So I'll come back and I'm going to do part 2. So just hang on for me and I will see you in part 2. Okay.